Awesome. Thank you. I'm not short, so I will put this up. All right. So I'm the oldest of three, and there's a big age gap between my middle sister and myself. So of course, I became kind of pseudo-parent, babysat, but I was still old enough to remember when they were first born and how fun all that was. It's always fun to have a new baby. But then it got less fun. And I didn't really get to, be a young person until I got away from all of that and all the little kids and go into college. And the story I wanted to tell today happened after college. So like a lot of us did in 2009 when you graduate from college in a recession, I moved in with my parents. And so obviously I wanted to get moving as quick as possible. So I became reacquainted with an old friend from high school who was a single mom, and it felt familiar. It felt like me. It felt safe. I started falling into the same roles. Eventually her daughter starts coming in, starts becoming more a part of our lives. And, sorry. Let's the spot here. Oof. Okay, so anyway, one day, everything's going great. We have a little spat, and I'm late for work. I run out, and I want to make sure to try to smooth things over. So I remember her saying that there was an issue with her muffler. It was giving her like a headache. There was fumes and everything else. And I was like, you know what, I think I could probably fix that. I know just enough about cars to get myself in trouble. So I looked under, and sure enough, the muffler had split right under the driver. So I grabbed the scissor jack, popped it up, and I was like, I'll just slide under there, and I'll just move it up. And that was easy. But what I didn't realize was you just don't put things on a scissor jack alone, because you move the whole car when you move a little bit of it. So 5 inches is the space between the floor and the little bead that you put the thing on. So I'm not 5 inches, I'm a little bit bigger of a guy. So luckily, suspensions are a thing and self-preservation is a thing. So everything kicked in, and oh man, I've tensed all my muscles. I started yelling for help. I grabbed the scissor jack. I'm trying to undo it, trying to jack it back up. All I see are feet, but then 2 people come. I don't know who they are, still don't. He's telling her, call 911. He's trying to keep me calm. I'm like, you gotta move this thing off. Here's the scissor jack, and 911 say, don't do it, because they're worried that it's keeping me together, So I assure him, and I was like, listen, I can kind of breathe still, but that's gonna change if you don't help me, like right now. And luckily it was very convincing, and he didn't listen to 911, which don't do that, listen to 911. And I sat still, and at that point in time is when I saw the feet of my girlfriend and her daughter come out, and I could hear she was super panicked, and the little girl was scared, but they didn't know who she was, and they asked, oh, like, how can I help? They said, oh, go watch our newborn, because there was a baby they had left to come help the screaming man in the parking lot. And so they went, and the paramedics come, they pull me out, they cut open my shirt to make sure I'm okay. They asked me where the old scar was from. I was like, that's where the car was, like no scar. And they put me on the stretcher and go into the hospital, go into the ambulance, and I'm crashing from all the adrenaline. And I just start to like cry, and the paramedics are like, oh man, like, are you okay? Like, are you having any pain or anything? And I just say, no, I just feel so bad. My girlfriend and I just had a fight, and she's gonna just feel awful about this whole thing. And it was not the healthiest thing to be saying at that moment. And now looking back at that, the lesson I like taking from that, because luckily I was physically okay. Like obviously I'm still here, and actually didn't break anything either, just a couple of strained muscles. And since it was still early 2000s, it gave me some opioids and just sent me on my way. But what I really took away from my near-death experience was that there's a really big difference. The relationship didn't last much longer. Obviously, it wasn't super healthy. But there is a really big difference between having the honor to live with an equal partner, who I've been married to now for like 3 years, and she's awesome, than dying just living for somebody else. So thank you.